This is David Kurtz for TPM Media. We're here in St. Paul at a panel discussion that was hosted by the Politico on new media and the war with conservatives. I'm joined by Tucker Carlson, the typically resplendent sartorially. No tie today, no bow tie, but no socks either, I see.
Well, it's still technically summer.
You talked a little bit about your concern, and I was curious about this because your reputation has come as a conservative commentator.
Right.
But you talked about your concern about there being less and less objectivity in news and everyone having their own point of view as opposed to some agreed on search for truth. Describe that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I am conservative. I'm libertarian, but I mean, I grew up in this business my dad was in, and I've been in it my whole life, and I know a lot about it, and I think there are a lot of things wrong with the press, and I think some of them have gotten better, too. In other words, I think new media has had actually, in a lot of ways, a positive effect on how news is covered, and I really admire the openness and the call to accountability and all that. But I just think as a philosophical matter and a practical one, it's really important to at least have a marker for reality, that there's a sort of common set of facts that we all agree on, right? Or at least a way of looking at things that we can all agree on, right? That the empirical fact gathering is worth doing, and that we sort of draw rational conclusions from those facts, that's worth it. In other words, that reality isn't just the sum of opinions. Like, I think this, you think that, we're both equally right. No, we should agree that there is a sort of absolute truth out there. We may not have reached it, but it exists.
You and Ariana got into a back and forth about global warming and whether there should be a debate on that issue. And you seem to be of the opinion that it was still worth debating as opposed to there being an agreed set of facts on that. I mean,
here's the only point I was making. It's remarkable to hear people in the name of science try and shut down questions. In other words, it seems to me the essence of science and scientific inquiry is, bring it on, right? Test me. Ask an endless series of questions. Test every possible hypothesis. I mean, I think that's what science is, right? And so, but in the name of it, your people say, well, it's the very fact that you would raise that question not only suggests, but in fact proves that you're a moron, that you're incapable of understanding the debate, or you're evil, you're being funded by some special interest that wants to pollute the earth for profit, or whatever. To impugn the motives of people who ask questions in the name of science, that's insane. In fact, it's like a parody. It's like a joke.
The big news here.
Do you see what I mean?
Well, I wanted to get back to the politics of the convention here. The hurricane obviously has disrupted things. What's the latest you're hearing on what the schedule will be like going forward?
I've been in a hotel ballroom this morning, so I don't know what the latest is, but I mean the state of play as of the moment I walked in was they're basically suspending the convention for today and maybe tomorrow. It's hard to see why. I think it's a total overreaction.
Do you?
I think it's embarrassing. Actually, it's embarrassing. I mean, it's not to take away from the gravity of this or any other hurricane. It's a really sad thing. It goes without saying. But that somehow they should shut down the convention or end children's birthday parties or ban laughter or what? I mean, it's all such overkill. It's like ludicrous.
So what do you think the McCain camp is reacting to?
Well, they're reacting to the perception that Republicans are mean and unfeeling, and the Bush administration was responsible for Katrina, and, they're snake bit, and I understand that. I don't respect it, though.
Tell me your reaction to Governor Palin. There was some discussion up here. I think Mark Halperin said that he was impressed by her resume and by her personal story, but it was hard to argue that she was the most qualified vice presidential contender out there. What's your reaction to her selection for VP?
Well, she's not. I mean, it's impossible to argue she's the most qualified person. She's not the most qualified person out there, and that clearly wasn't the main criterion McCain was using in making the choice. Qualifications, obviously, but I think she's an interesting choice. So, as someone who covers this stuff and talks about it and thinks about it, I applaud that. I mean, I'm always for the interesting over the anodyne, and I have an emotional connection to her because I'm a sportsman and I love women who hunt and fish. And I'll admit that's shallow. I'm not the deepest person in the world. And so I like her for that reason.
So if experience wasn't the criteria, what do you think McCain was looking at with her?
Well, it's a gamble. I mean, I don't know this for certain, but my strong sense is there were people on the McCain campaign who felt, or in the orbit of the McCain campaign who felt like, look, it's likely we're going to lose anyway. Okay? It's just a Democratic year. Obama's strong by every measure, and we're not as strong. And there's a lot of recent evidence that voters don't care about experience. I mean, Chris Dodd would be president, or Joe Biden, right, or Hillary Clinton, and instead the Democrats nominated the least experienced guy in the field. So clearly experience isn't a deal killer for, or lack of it is not a deal killer for the population, for voters. And what the hell? You know, let's just go bold, go zany, hope it works. I mean, I don't mean this as an attack on McCain or anyone else, but it's a reckless move. There's no doubt about it. And maybe it'll be rewarded, or maybe it'll be punished. I have no idea. You could see either one.
Great. That's Tucker Carlson here in St. Paul. This is David Kurtz for TPM Media.